People Finding People by Tom Seast. Reconnecting. I've reached that age where I've started to emerge from the years where caring for our sons consumed all of our time. While we still have one teenager, we don't have to concern ourselves with running kids from place to place and other things that consumed our time back in the day when the boys were all younger. And with this change, we start thinking about the days when we used to know people. Life was busy. Life during the child-rearing years was extremely busy, and we just didn't have time to stay connected with friends. And it's not just us. Life is like an ocean, and we get busy in cycles like the waves crashing on the beach. Meanwhile, friends have moved on, and we have no idea how to stay in touch with them. The phone. Originally, back in the day when phones were stuck to the wall, we had things like phone books that made it easy to reach out to friends. If I knew what city or town an individual lived in, I could either look up their phone number in the phone directory for that town, or I would call 411 for information. And that would allow me to give them a name and a town, and they would give me the phone number for that person. But people got tired of this intrusiveness and would pay extra to have their phone number unlisted so people couldn't find them. Portable phones. As time moved along, we were then introduced to bag phones, cell phones, and smartphones, and we were all unchained from the walls. Instead of having to go to the phone, we simply carried it with us and could be reached or reach out from just about anywhere. But with this new freedom came new anonymity. Lost directories. Since phones weren't tethered to walls and people weren't tethered to walls, it became more difficult to keep up with where people were living. People could live and work on a beach or live and work in an RV. People became mobile, and the directory services that kept track of where people lived became less effective. Our smartphones allow us to have or keep phone directories, with features like automatic backup, cloud backup, and synchronizing these phones seem to have these people randomly disappearing into the ether all of the time. Electronic mail. With the advent of the new technology, we also had ways to mail information to each other besides using the post office, in hand or typewritten letters. You could simply sit at your desk or at a coffee shop and send an electronic mail message to someone else, and there were limitless email servers. Messaging. We can also send messages to each other using applications provided on our phone. These messaging apps allow us to leave messages for each other or chat in real time, and there are literally hundreds of them. Virtual addresses. The people were free, and we were no longer tied to specific street addresses. This allowed people to run businesses in multiple cities, in multiple places, and do it all virtually. And it also made people more difficult to find or look up. Social media. With the advent of social media sites, people then started to gather in virtual locations for meetings, chats, and discussions of various types. And now we have lots of different social media sites where people tend to hang out. Statements like, she hangs out on Twitter, or he hangs out on Facebook, or he spends his time on LinkedIn are all common now. And there is no central place where people hang out anymore. Information trail. With all of these types of communications directories, people end up leaving an electronic trail of breadcrumbs that go everywhere. And this information comes in many forms. Our digital fingerprints now include typewritten text, audio text, photographs, and video conversations. Real or not real. People in public or in the virtual public tend to put on an act and behave differently than when you meet with them in person. This also tends to make the experience of trying to find and get information about a person to be more difficult, as in what is real and what is not real. People finding people. So how do I go about finding people? I have a few tricks that I would like to share with you in case you need to find someone from your past. None of these methods works all the time, but hopefully they will help you in some way or form. The information superhighway goes through the forest, and it can be difficult to see the trees or find specific trees as you move through it. Fast people search. I always start a person-specific search by going to fastpeoplesearch.com. This is a free site on the internet that allows you to look up a person based on name, city, state, zip, phone, or email. You can type in the information that you know about the person at one time and then see if it can find them. While not complete, this service is free, and you'll be surprised to see what is known or not known about you. Google.com. As you move away from a service like fastpeoplesearch.com, which uses public records, you tend to get less accurate information. So I turn to Google. At Google, type in the name of the person surrounded by quotes, like, quote, John Doe, quote, and then add the city with the quotes, St. Louis, Missouri. This tells Google to only include results that include the name of the person and the city as spelled. You can try various forms of the name of the city, and you may or may not have success in finding things like photos, pictures, etc. Social media. You can try to find someone on social media sites like Facebook and Twitter by going directly to the site. But this often does not work. So in situations like this, I like to go to Google and I'll enter a search like, quote, Facebook, quote, and, quote, Tom Ceased, quote, and, quote, Illinois, quote, surrounding each word in quotes. This tells Google that all of these phrases are required. I'll try the various social sites until I find something. People helping people. In worst case situations, you may actually have to talk to other people. You can avoid direct communications and utilize other methods like phone, messaging, email, or social media, but you can ask other people that knew the same people, just in case they actually were able to stay in touch over the years. But people helping people is only for the desperate few who will maintain contact with people from their past. Me. In any case, I hope this introduction into some simple methods you can use to locate people has helped you. If you have any difficulty trying to find me, don't hesitate to reach out at some of the links listed below.